Okay, I'm Joanne Gervais, local artist, living in Kingston, and was from the Ottawa Valley. Moved here for 20 years ago for 1 year teacher's college, and I kind of stayed. And right now, I'm at my summer gallery, which is open at 109 Princess Street in Kingston, and it's open July, August, and we're debating on September right now. We're not sure. Depends if I can get enough work done, and if I have staff, etc., etc. And I'm here to answer a question for Rielly, and about a bit on artwork and different style, different mediums, different subjects, and a bit on marketing also.
Okay. So my first question for you, Joanne, is because you've been painting for a long time, I know you have a lot of advice for younger artists who are just starting out. I was wondering if you could tell us some tips that you would recommend.
Get you started a little
Yeah.
bit. I think what happens with young artists when they start out, they're full of enthusiasm. The first couple of years feel easy because everything you paint, your neighbors, your friends, your aunts and uncles, everybody is buying your artwork. And so you say, great, I'm doing really well. Then your third, fourth year come, they no longer owe you anything. They've done their bit, and you start to have a bit of a lull, and you're sitting there, how am I going to compete, and how am I going to survive doing this? And the young guys today, like in 1970s, it didn't matter what you painted, it would sell. You hang it, it would go. There was only about 20, 30 artists in the city of Kingston, and people were hungry for art in that time. There was a lot of money floating around, and it was an easy go. 2 recessions later in the 80s, and now we are at 600 artists. More people are educated in the system, in the educational system. More people stay in school longer periods of time, are developing interest in art, come out and want to become artists. But now we're living with 600 artists where there was only 30, small population, how do you make a go of it? One, if you can do all the loveliest paintings in the world, if it's in your bedroom, under your bed, nobody sees it. You've got to get out, you've got to get noticed. You can't sell anything that unless it's of good quality and of subject and media and of techniques that will interest people. Like, no matter how good the painting is, someone may not like it. If someone doesn't like the painting, you're either selling it in the wrong location, or you've got the wrong market, or if there's something with the artwork. So you have to decide something with the market or something with the painting. Sometimes it's a combination. But if I've exhibited a painting in several areas and I've had several different clients, if the painting is still here and I figure after all that exposure it's still here, there's something wrong with it. I've taken paintings, cut them in two, taken only a small section, repainted them, taken them out of stock completely and used them as a base for 2, 3 other layers. And eventually it becomes enough changes done to it, becomes a new piece of artwork. We put it back out. 90% of the time it does go. But you guys, the young artists, are not competing against all the experienced artists. They're competing against people who have a lot less disposable income. They're hanging on to their income. They don't want to just give it up. There's also a lot of better artists, so the quality of art has increased. So now you have to be not just a good artist, well established, and able to work quickly enough, well enough to compete with the guys who've been out there 20, 30 years. Good is that they will take a piece out and expose you, but it's usually minimum exposure, maybe a few hours at an event somewhere, and that you can do a few times a year, but eventually you're going to have to look at taking your artwork and create exposure for yourself, but better exposure. Charities is a helpful one. You help the charity, it helps you a bit, but that wall space is now gone. And I think there's about 1,000 pieces a year in Kingston that go to charity. Add that up over 10 years. That's 10,000 walls pieces that are now gone. And that is a lot of artwork that was donated, but you can no longer sell for that space.
Mm-hmm.
So, but, you know, you got to have a balance. Get known, get into a few charities, but when I send out cards, art cards, if you give $100 in art cards equal to or $1,000 painting, the $1,000 painting will go to the one charity, will be exposed for a couple of days, then we're done. If you send out 100 art cards, it goes to the 100 people who first get it. They're going to give it to another 100 people who are going to show another 100 people who show another 100. So all of a sudden, your investment of $100, let's say, is spread out throughout thousands of people versus the one original, which is now our work. And to get exposure, you have to do some of the art shows. You have to earn your stripes. You have to do your art shows. You have to do the special events. It might be something a little place and they want you to demonstrate for kids art techniques, or teach at the art schools, or bring your paintings and put them up at restaurants. There's all kinds of alternatives, and you have to try different alternatives, see what suits you, till eventually you get known. Eventually people will guide you to the right gallery or the right agent or the right location, whatever that suits you. Some people work through galleries and are very happy. Some people don't like giving up the commission. And I sit down and say, well, 50% of the time is spent painting the painting, 50% of the time is spent trying to pass on the painting to someone else, selling it. Most artists don't like selling it, and I say, well, if you don't like selling it, that is a job. That's half the job. Once you have the painting, it must go somewhere. And or it's a commission, whatever it is, whether it's a commission piece, or it's a gallery piece, or just a non-spec piece that you're doing for the pleasure of it. Eventually, it needs to go somewhere. Otherwise, you're going to have so many paintings in your house, you're going to be using for furniture, because something's going to have to give. So if you don't want to pile them up and make a bed or a coffee table out of it, you want somebody else to buy it, you have to let them know it exists. And to let them know it exists, you're going to have to choose your master and just say, okay, I'm going to work for galleries, I'm going to work for commissions, I'm going to work for the shows. Something's got to give. There's a few artists, very, very few, who make it through the lottery, who get to do a fashion statement of some kind, dead rabbit's kids, whatever it is, upside down Christmas tree, whatever it happens to be, they do this something, and it's just the right thing, the right event, the right artwork, the right timing. Everything falls into place, and away we go. A lot of the artists who did the, like Pollock and a few other artists of his time, they were saved. Like Life magazine did a big spread on them. That's what made them famous, was that big magazine spread. Otherwise, nobody knew they existed. But then you better be a good artist, because once you've done your splash, and he's the artist who did this, what is he doing now? And my husband's statement is, you're always as good as your last painting. When that painting is done, and it had its prestige, whatever it is, you're now on the track to the next one. And he said it's like a little treadmill and it's never ending. If you enjoy doing the artwork, you don't mind a little treadmill. It's fun, you get that little shove to go. It's really discouraging to paint a lot of work and have it sit there day after day, day after day. You're looking at it. Nobody wants it. Nobody wants me. Nobody loves me. Maybe they don't know you're there. They probably love you and love your art once they see it. But get it out. Get people to look at it. And your artwork has to evolve, and it has to get better. If you develop a style that is very marketable, that people love, whatever it happens to be, or you happen to be particularly good at it, or it's your own discovery, it's brand new technique, great, let people know you have it. But you have to realize that after a few years, there has to be a next. But if you're a curious artist and you love to paint, and you love to learn, that's not a problem. You will evolve. It's just if you happen to sit yourself, this worked well, this sold well, I'm going to do this rest of my life, you're slotting yourself. And there's not too many slots that last a long period of time. Or people will start saying, oh, you're the artist that does this, you're the artist that does that. Do you want to be labeled as such? Maybe it is a good thing, maybe it isn't. You have to decide.
Okay. And so my next question is, what advice would you give to a person who wants to buy art but doesn't know what they should buy beyond what they like, if they want to have a good investment?
People, when they buy art, there's 2-3 reasons they usually get it. One is a beginning person who comes in who's just starting. Typically, not always, but typically they'll buy something they're comfortable with. They like it. They like it because of the color, shape, whatever. They don't even know why they like the piece. Some of them come in and they want to buy something that's a passion of theirs. I love horses. I love boats. I love hockey. I love lemons. I want something for my kitchen, bathroom, living room. It's got, I got my bed, big empty wall. It's got to fit there. Big empty wall over my couch. Here's the pillowcase. Here's the pillow stuff. It's got to match. There's many, many reasons why people buy artwork. So when they come in, first we have to know if they've already decided on a space for it. Is it because you have a couch, you just have a new house, and you painted the walls? Now everything is done. The only thing missing is a big empty wall, and you want to have something in there. Okay. Then you ask for subject. That's really important. Do you want an abstract? Do you want a marine scene? Do you have a love? You can show them all the most beautiful abstracts in the world, the most beautiful florals. If they want a boat painting, they want a boat painting. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't show them options, because you don't know